Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee's online worship service. I'm Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom, and I'm honored to serve as First Church's senior minister. We welcome people of all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all that you're carrying in with you today and all your heart longs to set down. We'd like to pay a special welcome to guests joining us today. If you're visiting for the first time or joining us from afar today, why don't you say hello in the chat and tell us where you're joining from? I welcome you all into our worship service by inviting you to repeat our First Church mission after me. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire action. Our opening words this morning are adapted from the poem The Complexity of Motherhood by the Reverend Leah Ongiri. On Mother's Day, let us mark how beautiful and complicated it can be to mother and to be mothered. To those who have mothered, we thank you. To those who rejoice in the work, the role, the presence of mothering and of mothers, we celebrate with you. To those who are in the thick of parenting children of any age, we appreciate you. To those who experience loss through infertility, abortion, miscarriage, adoption, running away, distance, conflict, illness, incarceration, or death, we mourn with you. To those who have lost their mothers, we grieve with you. To those who have endured abuse at the hands of their mothers, we acknowledge you. To those who experience pain at the marking of this day, we witness you. To those who are single moms, grandmoms, stepmoms, foster moms, adoptive moms, mentor moms, and spiritual moms, we need you. And to those who are pregnant with new life, both expected and surprising, we anticipate with you. May we reflect with gratitude on the wide spectrum of mothering that happens in our lives and in our communities. Let's go now to our beloved sanctuary to light the chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Now let's bring on the Taylor and Hilgeman families for our child dedication ceremony. In Unitarian Universalism, we believe that every child is born an original blessing. In our child dedication ceremonies, we commit ourselves to their lives. We bless the children and their parents, and we receive their unique blessing into our community. Each child comes into the world like a flower in bud, beautiful at this stage of life, and with the potential to grow. That growth cannot happen alone. Like a flower, each child needs loving nurture, fresh air and rich soil, and clear rain and sunny days and restful nights. These children, first teachers of truth and examples of love are their parents. Parents, in having your children dedicated today, will you affirm that your child is a blessing entrusted to your care, and that you intend to do all you can to provide your child with roots so that they might feel safe and wings so that they might fly? Will you strive to share with your child the reverence for life's beauty and goodness and truth? If so, please unmic yourselves now and say, "We will."
We will.
Now let's bring on the extended families of these children. Extended families, can you turn on your cameras now? Extended families of these children. You are the next circle of support for these children and for their parents. Bessie Lowry, in coming here today to support the Taylor family, and Bethany and Peter Koffold in coming here today to support the Hilgeman family. And we know that Jean and Alan Hilgeman are sending their support from the road too. Bessie and Bethany and Peter, will you affirm that you will support these children and their parents in this new adventure, hold them in love and compassion, and be additional sources of learning and love for them as they grow? If so, please now unmic yourselves and say, "We will."
We will.
We will.
Some great enthusiastic support from the extended families. Thank you all. You can go ahead and turn off your cameras.
Every child is dependent upon the love and care of others. Children cannot grow fully into their unique potential alone or with only the devotion of their parents and family. Children need a community in which to grow. So we have some promises to ask of this community. Children and youth of our congregation, this question is for you. You can speak your answer out loud, or you can write your answer in the YouTube chat now, or both. If you write in the chat, these children and our community will be able to see you welcome them. Will you promise to befriend these children and welcome them into our community of love, learning, and care? If so, please now say or write in the chat, "We will." I can hear you out there. We will. Adult members and friends, this next question is for you. You can speak your answer out loud, or again, write your answer in the YouTube chat now, or both, so that these children and our community will be able to see your welcome. Members and friends of First Church, will you welcome this family into our community, being with them in times of struggle and gladness? Will you promise to delight in these children's accomplishments, share in their sorrows, and encourage them as they grow into adulthood? If so, please now say or write in the chat, "We will." Thank you.
So many beautiful, encouraging responses in the chat. Thank you, congregation. Cherie Taylor and Anthony off screen. What is the full name you have given this child?
James Linnell Aubrey Taylor.
James Linnell Aubrey Taylor, we welcome you among us. Tammy and Brian Hilgeman, what are the full names you have given these children?
Maria Joy Hilgeman and
Bennett Allen Hilgeman.
Maria Joy Hilgeman and Bennett Allen Hilgeman, we welcome you among us. We're going to begin the blessings now. So parents, go ahead and get your elements ready. All right. We're going to begin with earth. So parents, find your earth and you're going to bless your children with it. It could be a blessing on their head or their hands or their feet or their heart, wherever you want to go. James and Maria and Bennett, as you are a blessing, we bless you now with earth. Earth, which blesses with strength and gives life its shape.
We now move on to air. James, Maria, and Bennett, as you are a blessing, we share with you the blessing of air, which blesses with wisdom and gives life its breath. Parents, will you now bless your child with air by blowing your breath gently on them?
We'll move on now to water. Water, which blesses with love and emotion. Go ahead and get your water ready, parents. And James and Maria and Bennett, we share with you the blessing of water.
Now fire. James, Maria, and Bennett, we share with you the blessing of fire, which blesses with the spark of creation. Parents, will you now light your candle to bless your child with fire?
All right. And finally, we share with you the blessing of the rose. The rose, which is a symbol of life's beauty unfolding, just as your lives are unfolding now. Parents, you can share with your children the blessing of the rose. Congregation, may we be worthy guardians of these young lives. May we build a community in which they grow old, surrounded by beauty and embraced by love. Let's show them our love now by writing your embrace of these families in the chat while we all listen to an instrumental version of the lullaby, Sleep My Child. Taylor's and Hilgeman's and extended families, it's wonderful to have you with us today. It's always wonderful to hear that lullaby. My dear ones, because of the unprecedented times in which we are living and the way our lives are all being touched by the grief and loss of this global coronavirus pandemic, we're continuing our pandemic practice of lighting the COVID candle for any of our members who've had a loved one die during this period, either from COVID or another cause. If you've had a loved one die from coronavirus or another cause during this time, and you'd like the COVID candle lit for them during Sunday worship, please contact one of the ministers. Joby Clark's second father, Robert Hildreth Merrick, known as Bob, died on April 28th at the age of 84, survivor of 3 different cancers, but not the 4th. Paul Geenan's brother, Carl Geenan, died from cancer on June 27th, 2020, and Carl's wife, Paul's sister-in-law, Clarice Geenan, died 4 months later on October 8th, 2020, from heart complications, or as one of their children said, from a broken heart. They were both in their mid-70s. It is our pandemic practice to light our COVID candle to honor the lives and the deaths of members' loved ones during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, we light our COVID candle in honor of Robert Merrick, Carl Geenan, and Clarice Geenan. As we enter now into a time of contemplation, which will be followed by silence, followed by the song Spirit of Life, I just invite you to take a moment to get comfortable in your body. Settle into where you are right now. Maybe that means feeling your breath moving in and out of your lungs, or maybe it means feeling the top of your head, connecting you to all that is. Maybe it means feeling your feet on the ground and the ground holding you up. Whatever it means, do it now. Spirit of life and love, Holy One, of our being and our becoming, that which is sacred within, among, and beyond us. Be with us today on this complicated day of love and loss entwined. May we remember and honor those we have loved who have loved us well. May we honor the nurturers of the world, those who have mothered us into being on this day. May we celebrate the mothers in our midst who are in the thick of the deep, hard work of mothering. May we also honor all the complex feelings on this day and the different ways loss might be woven in with the word mother. We send our care to those who are grieving today, even as we celebrate with those who are celebrating. You are all beloved and honored and worthy in this space. May it be so, and amen.
Good morning. My name is Joby Clark, and it is my honor to be your worship associate this morning. I have so many stories passed on to me through my family, both on my Mormon side of the family and the Jewish side of the family. But I have one in particular that I'd like to share with you today. And this is the story of my grandmother on my dad's side, on the Jewish side. When my grandmother was 10 years old, she was delivering dry cleaning to families in the Queens neighborhoods. Her father was a tailor. He was the tailor. And she was the oldest of 4, and there wasn't much money at all. At some point, my grandmother heard or saw or listened to a piano, and she found a way to teach herself piano. She was only 10, but it seemed to be something she was really drawn to. But again, money was tight, and she found that she had learned piano so well that she could now teach other children. So by the time she was 12 years old, she began teaching children in the neighborhood and was asked by families to teach piano lessons. And she was invited into the home of one family, and they asked her to play at their piano. And she did magnificently. She performed beautifully. And she was feeling so good. In walked the father from the family, and he looked at my grandmother and recognized her as the same little girl who delivered his dry cleaning. And he said, "Aren't you the tailor's daughter?" And it stung so sharply because my grandmother was so conscious of her position and her class in society at that time. I'm sure that pained her for many years, but she continued to play. And when she was a young woman, she got married, she became an English teacher, continued to teach piano lessons, but had no piano of her own. And at one point, she walked in. She had enough money that she thought she'd give it a try. So she walked into the Steinway Company in Queens. And she said to the fellow, "What have you got?" And he said, "Ma'am, there's only, with the amount of money you have, I can't give you much. But there's a baby grand, a concert baby grand in the back. It's got big legs on it. I'll switch out the legs for you and put on straight legs. The soundboard's broken, but it plays well. I'll give it to you for $300. Sold. She took that piano home, and she played on that piano in her own living room, on that baby grand. And she played on that piano while my dad got older, and she had children, and they became adults. And she played on that piano when my parents married. And then my mom plays on that piano. And now that piano sits in my mom's living room, and she plays on the piano. And now my son takes piano lessons. I look forward to the day when I can share this story with my children and they appreciate it as much as I do. I love it because it's grounding and it reminds us that we are a part of the story of time. I hope that you have stories that you can and will pass on to your own family members. Thank you for listening.
Hmm. In Richard Powers' novel, The Overstory, the story of Mimi Ma's character begins before she's born, in the story of her father's father in Shanghai in 1948, 4 days before her father is bound to board a Pacific passenger liner to San Francisco. Mimi's grandfather is a scholar of art, a philosopher, and a wealthy entrepreneur. Before his son leaves for the United States, he sits him down to tell him the story of their family. This family has come so far, Mimi's grandfather says. From Persia to the Athens of China, we Muslims have taken everything this country threw at us and packaged it for resale. This building, our mansion in Hangzhou, think of what we have outlasted. Ma, resilience. Mimi's grandfather is referring to their family outlasting the ravages of colonial exploitation, the 14-year-long Taiping Civil War in 1850, the typhoon that destroyed their family's silk plantations, the 1911 Chinese Revolution, and the 1927 Shanghai Massacre of communists. But now, as he's speaking in 1948, her grandfather believes this wave of communism will destroy their resilient family in mere months. And he's sending his son to the United States with the family's wealth to continue their insistent tradition of survival. Mimi's grandfather sends his son with 3 jade rings and a Chinese Buddhist scroll at least 1,000 years old. He tells her father about each of the rings into which intricate trees have been carved. Mimi's grandfather says to his son, "You live between 3 trees. One is behind you, the lot, the tree of life for your Persian ancestors, the tree at the boundary of the 7th heaven which none may pass. Another tree stands in front of you, Fuzang, a magical mulberry tree far to the east where they keep the elixir of life. The 3rd tree is all around you, now, and like now itself, it will follow you wherever you go." The scroll is a painting of 4 Buddhist arhats. Mimi's grandfather tells her father they are, quote, adepts who have passed through the 4 stages of enlightenment and now live in pure, knowing joy. The Ma family bakes the 3 rings into mooncakes and leaves the scroll out, hiding in plain sight among the rest of Mimi's father's luggage in order to pass through customs. Mimi's father says goodbye to his family, who his daughter will never know except through stories, and he makes his journey to San Francisco. One day, years later, when Mimi is 9 years old, she comes home from her San Francisco grade school in tears because some kid on the playground told her all Chinese people were communists who ate rats and loved Mao. Her kind father hugged her gently and then began telling her all the stories he had been holding inside him until that moment. Stories of his family, in Shanghai, stories of his childhood in China, stories of his journey to the United States. And then, with an air of significance that Mimi didn't understand but could feel, he took out the 3 rings and the scroll. Carefully unrolling that ancient, dusty paper, Mimi's father explained to his young daughter that the men on the scroll were Lohan, Arhat, Little Buddha, Chinese superheroes. He said, they see every answer. Emperor, come and go. Xing, Min, Yuan, communism too. Little insects on a giant dog. But these guys, he clicked his tongue and held up his thumb as if these little Buddhas were the ones to put the money on in the run of time. Last week, Reverend Dina said stories are our immortality. They are how we live on. Stories not only carry us forward into the future with the next generation, they also carry the past to us. Like the 3 jade trees, stories carry the past, shape the future, and pour forth into the now like living water. Stories tell us who we are by telling us from where we've come and who we might become. Who made you? Who shaped you? Who passed down their rings to you? The stories that shape us can be passed down through families, born or chosen. Your story's lineage might be one of a long line of mothers, passing down recipes and methods to maintain balance in busy lives. Or it might be one of writers, passing down genres and voices and traditions. Or it might be a lineage of queer family, passing down celebration and strategies for survival. Whatever storyline you find yourself in, it shapes you. It shapes what you hold dear and it shapes what you push against. Your stories form contours in your life with their boundaries, singing, this is who we are, how we do, what we know of the world. Sometimes stories shape us in their negative space as well. In her 2001 book, Reflections of My Life as a Woman, the memoirist and poet Diane di Prima recounts the story of a drunken evening in the 1960s with some very important writers at Allen Ginsberg's New York City apartment. Di Prima was a single mother at the time, so she had found a babysitter, a friend, to watch her young daughter while she went to have that dinner with Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac and others. A little after 11 p.m. that night, Di Prima began getting ready to go so she could get home by 11:30 when she told her babysitter that she would return. As she was saying goodnight to everyone, Di Prima remembers Kerouac raised himself up on one elbow on the linoleum and announced in a stentorian voice, Di Prima, unless you forget about your babysitter, you're never going to become a writer. I considered this carefully, Di Prima writes. then and now, and allowed that at least part of me thought he was right. The story that writers and artists and any real creative need to abandon all responsibility, need to give themselves over to the art only and deny the complexity of their whole selves and their relationships, is a potent story. So is the story that mothers are supposed to be mothers only, that they're supposed to give themselves over to their children and deny the complexity of their whole selves and lives. DePrima faced both of those stories pulling on her at the same time. Ultimately, she decided to go home that night. "I'd given my word to my friend," she wrote, "and I would keep it. Maybe I was never going to be a writer, but I had to risk it. That was the risk that was hidden like a Chinese puzzle inside the other risk of, can I be a single mom and be a poet?" In a Jacket magazine interview about her memoir just after it was published in 2001, DePrima said, "I wanted everything, very earnestly and totally. I wanted to have every experience I could have, and that meant I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to go through the whole thing of seeing them grow up and what that would be. So my feeling was, well, nobody's done it quite this way before, but damn it, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to risk it." Risk it. The stories DePrima was writing against felt so strong that it felt like a risk to try something different. Diane DePrima passed away in 2020, a mother of 5 children and a writer of more than 40 books. She was named Poet Laureate of San Francisco in 2009, and she was awarded the National Poetry Association's Lifetime Service Award in 1993. In her 2001 memoir, when DePrima looked back on that night at Allen Ginsberg's New York City apartment, she realized that if she had stayed, as Kerouac had urged, then, quote, there would be no poems. That is, the person who would have left a friend hanging, who had done her a favor, also wouldn't have stuck through the thick and thin to the business of making poems. She said, "It is the same discipline throughout." Diane DePrima wrote her own story against the stories in her lineage of beat poets. She wrote her own story against the prevailing narratives of motherhood of her time. And in her story is living water to be poured out for other mothers now. You do not belong only to your obligations. You are not owned solely by your children or by your work. I say this in the most precarious of moments of motherhood, in this pressing mix of parenting pressures in a pandemic. I'm not telling DePrima's story today to perpetuate the myth that mothers or that anyone can do it all. That story is toxic and it's absurd. And the pandemic is revealing it as a myth, as the lack of infrastructure to support the societal work of parenting is leading to severe stress and anxiety and even depression among our mothers and our parents and our families. Mothers, I want to say to you, this is not your fault. Parents, this is not your fault. You can't make enough hours in the day to work a full-time job and be full-time teachers and cooks and housekeepers and parents and humans with hearts in the same vice of collective grief in this pandemic as everyone else has. What's been asked of you, what's been put on you is impossible. Some things can be done, yes, but not all the things, and not all the things well, and certainly not all the things perfectly. Even more, it's not right that our society has placed this pressure on your shoulders alone. Having children is in the collective interest of the continuation of our society. And that means that the care and the education and the health of our children is the collective responsibility. Landing that responsibility solely on one or two people at a time is absurd and it's harmful and it's not working. We have a serious societal infrastructure problem that individualizes work that's collective. So no, Diane DePrima's story is not here to perpetuate the harmful myth that anyone, including mothers, can do it all. No. Instead, it's to reclaim the notion that mothers get to write their own stories and claim their own time and identities for themselves. Mothers, like all humans, are complex, multifaceted people who get to sing their own songs. Mothering is part of mother's life song, a core and central and life-changing part of that song, but the whole song and how it is sung is up to each mother herself, either to sing in her own lineage and tradition or to sing with a new verse made in the negative space the old stories weren't able to write. In the overstory, at the sound of her father clicking his tongue at the Buddhas who could see every answer, Flowers writes that a teenage Mimi lifted from her own 9-year-old shoulders to gaze at the Arhats from high up and years away. And out of the gazing teen rose another, even older woman. Flame was not a line unrolling out in front of her. It was a column of concentric circles with herself at the core and the present, floating outward along the outmost rim. Future selves stacked up and out above and behind her, all returning to this room for another look at the men who had solved life. Our stories shape us and bind us to those we love, mothers and children, parents and siblings of chosen family, writers of our lineage, stories from our own childhood and those of our ancestors, binding us together. We are made by stories, and come home to ourselves through layers and layers of story. Happy Mother's Day, dear ones. Whoever you are, whatever your relationship is to this day, may you sing the song of yourself with or against your story's lineage, and may you sing fully and widely and with deep clarity and confidence and celebration. May it be so, and amen.
What are we to each other? Are we friends or something more? Even before I knew you, we were bound, and that's for sure. Bound to sail, bound to sink, you were bound to swim away one day. You are a bright reflection of the best that I could be, and not because of our likeness or the things you've learned from me and taught to me when you talked to me and when you walked away. Some days, always bound we are, bound we are, we are, we are ever bound. I'd never tried to hold you, tried to keep you in one place. I'd rather stand back and watch your life unfold with perfect grace, perfect timing, perfect love. Let you be perfectly free, as perfect as we will never be. Though bound we are, bound we are, we are, we are ever bound. Here we are, both alive for a time. You were mine. If you stay, if you go, I trust that you'll always know we're bound. We are bound. We are ever bound.
Thank you for that beautiful music, Leah. And thank you all so much for your generosity. As you know, pledges are at the core of our congregation's practice of generosity. We're also grateful for additional gifts to support our ministry and thank the folks out there who are appreciating this online ministry and supporting it by texting 73256 with the message "Give to you," or by giving on our website. Your gifts help us continue to provide this ministry. We also share the plate with an organization each month. In May, our Share the Plate partner is Milwaukee Youth Services, chosen by our religious education, children, and youth. The Milwaukee Youth Services program works with youth who are involved or at risk of becoming involved in the juvenile justice system, providing assistance as well as 2 short-term youth shelters. Currently, the young folks in the Rashid House Boys Shelter are raising money for a mural inside that shelter, inspired by the beautiful Milwaukee murals painted during the pandemic and the movement for racial justice. Their fundraising goal for the mural is $1,500. You can see all the options to donate on your screen now, either to First Church or Milwaukee Youth Services, and directly to the mural project of Milwaukee Youth Services. These places to donate will live on in the YouTube comments section of the video after worship is over. So we invite you to donate now or to come back later and make your donations then. If you want to write a check, you can make it out to the Wisconsin Community Services and include FUSM Youth in the memo line, and we will send it on to the Milwaukee Youth Services Program. So thank you so much for giving either right now or when you come back later. Your support keeps us and our community partners going. Thank you. Dear one, may you sing your own story with Gutso today, whether that be with or against the lineage of stories passed down to you. May we honor those who have mothered us well and honor the mothers among us doing the hard work of parenting in a pandemic. May we comfort those who grieve today and be compassionate with our own dear hearts wherever they might fall on the scale of love and loss at this moment. Know you are loved and beloved here, and that your story, while made and shaped by the stories around you, is yours to sing, and it is beautiful. Amen, and may it be so.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going. We know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah. Whoa, yeah, yeah.